I have some productive habits that a lot of people think are weird. I am often made fun of for these things. Hi, my name is Amy Landino. I am a high-performance mindset coach, international keynote speaker, and 3-time best-selling author. I'm here to help you go after the life you want, starting with my weird productive habits. I'm completely and utterly obsessed with my calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. I can have a long to-do list. It's irrelevant. I love my note cards. They help me expand on ideas. I've got project organization, but the things that matter the most are on the calendar. If you have not figured out when and where something is going to happen, how do you know you're ever going to do it? How are you ever going to take that action forward? So that's the productive side of me. But then there's like the annoying side. My husband can testify to this. He could be doing something that he does on a very regular basis, like go to work. And I will probably still go, it's not on the calendar. I can't help it. Like, if you need me to know something, I end up being in such a one-track mind because of the way that my systems have worked so well for me. It should probably be on the calendar if you want it on my radar. It's very effective if you put it on the calendar. It's so effective. If I find that something is on the calendar that doesn't necessarily need to be, I will literally call and text and be like, do we need this here? Does this need to be something that I have to pay attention to? Because this is coveted space, the calendar. I can see why it gets a bit annoying. And also, very much the topic of conversation if people ask me to do anything. Great excuse, oh, let me check with my husband. Great excuse, oh, I have to ask my boss. Great excuse, I gotta check to see what my kids have going on that night. Also a great excuse, I'm gonna look at my calendar and I'll get back to you. People don't use that one enough. I use that one regularly, very regularly. Could I pull up my calendar right now and tell you? Sure, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna check my calendar on my own time after I've had my own thoughts to make sure I'm gonna say yes or no to something, and then I will get back to you. It's working for me. That one is a big one. This productive habit, I get a lot of crap for it. Probably not to my face as much as behind my back. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I really am. It's a very high likelihood I don't want to go to your party, okay? Especially if we don't know each other that well. If you are not my dearest friends or my family, and you're not someone I see many times a year, I don't want to go to your party. I don't. I want to support you. I want to lift you up in any way that I can. If it's a big deal and there just happens to be this opening of time that I definitely can give to it, then maybe. But I'm going to really think about it first because I have 2 beautiful kids I like to spend time with. I have a business I'm obsessed with, and I have a husband who still really likes me. So if those people or things are not involved, I have to think about it. I'm going to check my calendar. I know that this is really hard for people because oftentimes like a whole group of people will go to something and it's like, this is a whole effort. All of us are going to this event. And so why wouldn't you want to be there? Because if nothing else, then you get to spend time with some of these people. Yes, I feel you. But am I already spending time with those people very consistently? And probably in a more focused environment where we get to have a deeper relationship because we actually get to know each other? Then I don't need to go to that party. I just don't. I really don't. And bless you for getting married and congratulations on your shower. And I expect the exact same treatment. And it would be fine. Because if you care about something else more, then that is where you should be. And I respect people who are honest about that. So I try to be very honest about it while being nice. Very, very generous of anyone to think of me ever to be a part of their world is the kindest thing. But it is not going to be the sole reason that I do something. Be somewhere, go somewhere at all. I would love to buy you a gift. Any gift, you name it. Probably not a nice car, but if there's something you want, I will happily send it to your party in lieu of me. And we both win most of the time. So I'm not the best party guest. I'm kind of boring. I know this sounds ridiculous. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, great, an excuse to go out for the night. It's just not something that I think. It's just not the way that I tick. And I really do rub people the wrong way sometimes with that one because they just don't understand, and that's fine. I don't expect anyone to understand me. I don't expect anyone to conform to me. I really don't. I'm going to get out of the way. And I'm fine with that. On that note, bedtime is the best time. I mean, it's just the best. And I love to talk about it. I'm going to bed. I can't do that. It's my bedtime. I'm out. I gotta go. Oh my gosh, who made this famous recently? Oh God, what's her name? That's so horrible. She's a freaking icon. Jamie Lee Curtis. It was Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Yes, Jamie Lee Curtis, I worship you. Jamie Lee Curtis declines Oscar dinner invitation because it is past her bedtime. Hashtag goals. People love to say, yeah, bedtime, totally. Because we love sleep. Yes, you love sleep when you get the sleep. When you finally go to sleep. People do not actually love bedtime. They have a very hard time with bedtime. Netflix is sexier than bedtime. Scrolling social media is sexier than bedtime, I guess. Going to a party, sexier than bedtime. Just all the things. all the things. But having a consistent schedule that actually regulates your body and makes it healthier and makes you a better person the next day, not sexy. It's not. It sounds good, and it's what a lot of people say they're doing on Instagram. But are they? Because if you are in love with bedtime like I am, you healthy, honey. Now, am I getting a lot of sleep right now? No, I have a 6-week-old. It's called being in a season. But what I'm teaching her is the same thing I taught my toddler, which is we go to bed at the same time every night. On special occasions, you get to extend that. And then we regret it deeply soon after, because you turn into somebody we don't know. And you only miss bedtime by 30 minutes. I don't want to miss bedtime if a 30-minute variable is going to throw us all off. That's just me. But every once in a while, you get to be special and you get to stay up. The little one, we got to learn now. We have to learn now when bedtime is. We have to learn now to be on a regular schedule. If you don't learn that now, you never learn that. This is why people don't sleep in their lives. They never learn to sleep in the first place. How are you going to do it as an adult if you didn't learn the importance of it earlier in life? I'm not saying that there are some children who don't have a hard time sleeping. This one is giving me a hard time lately, but I don't give up on bedtime ever. For her, it's every 3 hours. We're gonna keep at it. We're gonna keep at, even if you skip one of these naps, we're gonna try again. I am not giving up. Bedtime is the best time. I genuinely don't think that you appreciate this until you notice how you operate differently at a higher energy level, especially if you're actually taking care of yourself with better diet and better exercise. You don't really appreciate how critical going to bed at regularly, the same time, close to the same time on a regular basis, you just don't notice. You wouldn't know how good it is for you until you do it. So I get it. People make fun of me for wanting to go to bed instead of doing literally anything else. By the way, if you see me looking, it's because she's finally taking her nap for the day, which is why we get to have this conversation. So it's a delight for me to be able to be talking about this while she is sleeping. I would feel really crappy if she wasn't sleeping and I was filming this video right now, knowing, oh, you're supposed to be taking a nap. This one I'm a big fan of, and I'm surprised how many people don't do this. Did you know there's an option on your phone to silence unknown callers? Literally, your phone will not ring from an unknown caller. At least that's how the iPhone is. I'm assuming all the other ones have had this fanciness before iPhone because everything takes longer with Apple. Why am I to ever take a phone call I'm not expecting from somebody I don't know? Explain that to me. Explain how that is smart for me. Now, if you're in sales and your phone number is plastered on billboards, do not take this advice. That is completely different. But if you're a business owner like me, whose phone number is probably out there because of business reasons, I don't need to take your call. You do not have a scheduled appointment. I am in the middle of doing something that actually makes me money or fulfills my life, like hanging out with my family. I don't care if my phone is ringing. Who cares? Yay, a ringtone. I don't have to answer it. I don't need to know who you are. I don't need to know what you want. I don't. If I do, you can leave me a message, or you probably could have gotten a hold of me in some other way that makes more sense, because I can't remember the last time I checked my voicemail. Like, does anyone leave voicemails anymore? If you leave voicemails, do you have the capability to text? Just curious. I'm getting really ranty. I didn't mean to get ranty in this video, but I'm just being myself, genuinely. Probably because I'm feeling defensive because I get made fun of for these productive habits. Let's take it down. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep it down though, because the next one gets me going. There's no reason to answer the phone if you're not expecting someone's call. As a matter of fact, there are certain hours of the day that I don't take certain people's call that I do know. I don't have time to talk to you if I'm in the middle of working and other people are taking care of my children. I pay for childcare, or I am using someone else's time to take care of them, so I'm going to use this time very wisely. If it's a weekend and we're just I'm taking everyone's call that I know. I'm happy to. I want to connect with people, but I'm not going to get my work done, and I don't have a boss breathing down my neck to make sure I get my work done if I'm answering the phone all the time. It just makes no sense. That being said, there are a few people that are on my favorites. You're pointing to my phone like you know where it is. There are a few people on my favorites that I answer for every time because it could be super urgent or important, like my husband or the people that are watching my children or anyone in my immediate family. If they're calling me, they know how I am about my schedule, so they're usually calling for a good reason. But everyone else, you just should stop. You actually might get a hold of me if you sent me an email or a text. But now let's talk about texting. I get a little bit of crap, not as much, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are like this now, whether they're just like not tech savvy or they're like me and they're making a choice. I'm a slow texter. It is what it is. I'm a slow texter. Like I know that this inbox exists, and I understand how it comes off as a very high priority inbox, but it's not. It's much more busy now. There's a lot going on in there, and if you are not careful, you will fall down a hole. You should check to see how many hours a day you spend just in the Messages app, because it might surprise you. And you might think that that's time well spent because it's with the people that are closest to you. But are you sure? Like, really sure? Also, are you having a conversation that could have been had in person? I also feel that we're getting lazy with our actual important relationships in our lives, that we're gonna try to upkeep a relationship in text message. I have had friends in the past who've become not as close of friends because of that. It's not that they were doing anything wrong. We probably just couldn't get together as often, but to try to keep a relationship completely going on text message, you're both just kidding yourself. It makes no sense. But I digress. My main point is I am going to be a slow texter. Unless you're someone that's taking care of my kid, you're my husband, or you're my very, very close family, and I just want to make sure you're good, I'm not even going to look at your text. And then I'm going to decide how important the text is regardless of who you are to decide when I'm going to get back to it. I want to give you my undivided attention when I'm reading your messages because I'm already not the most amazing reader when it comes to comprehension. I tend to skip over words and then I will totally miss the point. I really do, especially if I'm in a hurry. So if you're texting me for a good reason, you want to have my focused attention, not my multitasking attention, which is non-existent. Totally non-existent. The misconception that you have to text people back quickly, that one's not gonna play out well for you in the long run. I try to help people with this so much. If I text you and you don't write me back for an hour or a day or a week, and you say, I'm sorry to kick things off, even though like I know you have deep, meaningful intent by saying, I'm sorry, I don't want you to be sorry. I assume you have better things going on than the meme that I texted you. Like, it's fine. We will discuss this at a later date, and I am good with that. And so I really do try to treat other people the way I want to be treated, because I know if it's way more urgent than that, I'm calling you. And depending on how well I know you, I'm calling you multiple times. So I'm not just gonna wait for you to text me back. I don't expect an apology because you were spending your time wisely instead of hanging out in the Messages app. So I'm a slow texter, but I treat others as I would like to be treated. Except for my husband, because if I text him, it's usually always important. So I expect a quick text, especially since I'm gonna see him later anyway. So I would just save the conversation for in person if it wasn't urgent. So Vincenzo, you should text me back quickly. Those are some of my productive habits that don't always go over very well with others, but they're very good practice for learning how to say no. They're all ways to say no, just in different boundaries that you set in your life. Specifically with your mobile device, things get messy. They get complicated. We are all connected all the time, and everyone knows it. People are even tracking other people's locations at a large level. I find this the most interesting about young people today, that the new social media is to track their friends on a map. That's a little creepy for me. I don't even have read receipts turned on. You think I want you to know where I am? Absolutely not. You just have to be really careful with that thing because it's powerful, and you can still be kind to people, and you can still be good to people, and you can still be good to yourself by setting the boundaries that you have for your life. Make decisions. Have rules for yourself. I have a rule. I don't go to someone's wedding if I don't know them. Pretty standard. I mean, like, I feel like that's acceptable, but it's my rule, and if I'm coming off weird to you, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It's really sorry, not sorry. I'd love to hear if you have some quirky, productive habits. Leave those in the comments down below, and thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.